Hey developers, today we're going to look at the Advanced Web Developer Bootcamp by Colt Steele. We're going to decide, is it worth buying? By the way, I put a link to it below, so if you're interested, you can take a look at it. We're going to take a quick first look at it, so please stay all the way to the end and find out. Let's begin. Alright, so here we are on the Udemy page here. This is the Advanced Web Developer Bootcamp course by Colt Steele. So I have just recently started looking at this. So this is just, like I mentioned, a basic first look at it. And by the way, I put a link, like I said before, all the links for my favorite web development courses from Udemy are below. This course is normally $200, but you can get it on sale for $10 or $12 for the next few days. So I would highly recommend checking it out. I could tell you right now, spoilers, it's probably worth the $12, but I haven't gone through all the courses. I haven't gone through all the items. I've only gone through 3 or 4. I've just kind of looked through it. So, but here's what you can expect if you get it. Like I said, definitely click on the links below if you're interested. So it's first, one of the criticisms I had of the first course, if you don't know Colt Steele, he's created a number of courses, and one of the most popular courses on Udemy is the Web Developer Bootcamp, and he has been adding on to that course for a while. And there was a section right at the end which was supposed to be more like advanced JavaScript, but you could definitely tell that he has done a lot more in this course. He's kind of taken some of the concepts of that one module in his last course and then expanded on it a lot more. So he one criticism I also had was we didn't cover any front-end frameworks. And this one, he has dedicated one large section to React, and React 16, so the latest version. So he's definitely looked really hard at that, and it goes into a lot of things, which we'll discuss in a moment, including Redux. He's picked a graphing library. D3 was one of the main parts that he added to this course. He's also he does ES 2015. He also has modules on ES 2016 and 2017 too, which is cool. Something you don't see too often is testing. Testing is one of the sections in there. And then he has some advanced JavaScript, CSS Flexbox, animations, Ajax. So it comes up to 27.5 hours and 345 lectures. One thing nice about this is he also there's actually not just one instructor. Colt actually has 4 instructors. So there's 4 different developers that'll teach you through this whole course. And he admits right at the beginning that he found the best people to teach these different sections. So he's not an expert in everything, although I'm sure if he had to, he could probably teach it. So it comes up to 27.5 hours, and he's already had almost 5,000 students as of this recording. I'm sure it's going to keep going up and up because he is probably one of the most popular instructors on Udemy. And of course, when you buy this course, you get the full course for lifetime. And he kind of talks a little bit about this. There are quite a few options out there for online training, but we are certain this course is the most comprehensive and frankly the best one out there. So he kind of mentioned that earlier in his last course, the web developer course. That was the only course you ever need. But I mean, this is good marketing. This is what you do when you market courses. You have to be confident, and this is why. I mean, like you said, he has professional bootcamp instructors. He talks a little bit about how he's actually taught bootcamps in San Francisco before, and everything's up to date. I mean, this course just came out recently, so it doesn't have a date when it came out. I don't think it does, but it definitely came out recently. And advanced JavaScript, advanced CSS. So this is going to be a step up. If you've taken his first course, which you can find the link in the description below, you might want to take a look at this one. This is the next one. And kind of going back through, I just mentioned React Router, Redux. I think React's the new buzzword. Everybody wants to learn React because it's one of the most popular front-end frameworks out there. I personally enjoy Vue.js too. If you want to learn more about Vue, I have some links below, and I have a book on it. But I don't fault him. React is probably the most popular front-end framework right now. It's probably why it's the first on the list. And he still loves Node, Node.js, and Express. I would like to have seen like Ruby, Ruby on Rails, or like Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix is really niche, but I think it's getting more popular. Definitely goes into the basics of OOP JavaScript. And like many courses, there's a lot of code alongs, so you're going to be coding along. There's a lot of projects, which are really cool. And he does a few different things too when he teaches the course. And you can kind of, here's just a bullet point of lots and lots of things he goes over. Like I said, it's 27 and a half hours, so you're going to get a lot of different things. And you can kind of get his bio at the end. I can't really show you in the videos because of copyright, but I could probably click over and kind of go over the course sections. So I just, the introduction is what I've gone through, but I have kind of looked through some of these. CSS animation, transformations, transitions. When you go into a little more advanced CSS, animations are a little bit more tricky. So he has lots of sections on that. Lots of links to outside articles and CodePens, MDN articles, which is the Mozilla Developer Network. Goes to animations, keyframes, and then if you're a Flexbox fan, he goes into Flexbox. So that is really important. Then a lot of his sections, he has an app that you build. So in this section, he builds an app. So async foundations. So he talks about asynchronous JavaScript, the event loop, things like that, timeouts, intervals, kind of basic stuff, not too hard. Then he goes into Ajax. He even goes into the original XML HTTP request. He goes into fetch. He creates during the exercises, you interact with a couple different APIs. So he makes you create one of the kind of assignments and code alongs is a Bitcoin price exchange where you use fetch or some kind of Ajax request to get some data from a third-party API, and you're displaying it, which is kind of a cool concept there. I mean, it's a good way to keep you motivated. Error handling. And then he goes into Axios, which is another library that you can use to do Ajax requests, and he even goes into jQuery. And then there's a second Ron Swanson exercise. So there's some funny exercises that you do. And then it goes into, which is nice. There's usually a lot of courses they only touch upon testing, but he does have a whole section on testing with Jasmine. So he goes into in detail about how to use it, even clocks, Jasmine async, how to test async functions using Jasmine. Of course, if you don't use Jasmine, this won't be as helpful, but I think it's interesting. And then he has some advanced arrays. So instead of using like Lodash, like how you would create some of these things yourself, like reduce, map, filter. Goes into closures. I think this section right here is like JavaScript 101 developer interview stuff that you may run into. I keep on hearing it. You got to know closures if you're in a JavaScript interview. You got to know what this is. So it goes in call and apply bind, which are kind of a little bit more advanced. He actually did cover, I think, a lot of this in the last section of the Web Developer Bootcamp. So this might be review. I wonder if it's the same module. Be interesting. And then that kind of nicely dovetails into his next section on OOP with JavaScript. And he talks about the prototypable inheritance, things like that. And then he really likes Node and Mongo. I don't like these sections, but he has like create your own API, RESTful interface using JSON APIs. And then he has another code along with a to-do list, app. And I really like these new sections. Like he really goes deep into ES 2015. So pretty much all the features that you should know, which is const, let, arrow functions, destructuring, for of loops, rest, spread operators. If you've seen Wes Boss's JavaScript course, he goes over all this, but in probably more detail. But this is nice. He has a whole section on it. And guess the password. This is kind of another code along. Then he has another section, ES 15 part 2, because there's just so much of it. Classes, instances, class methods. You know, if you're using React, you probably should get familiar to how to use classes. Maps, sets, things like that, promises, generators. And then he has a nice section, 2060, JavaScript is still changing in 2016 and 2017. It has a whole section on that. I'm not going to get into it. He gets really deep into D3. He has 5 sections on it. So he goes through D3 in the DOM, SVG in D3, intermediate, D3 odds and ends. He's maybe 6 sections. And then like creating projects with it. So if you're looking for D3, there's just a lot of information on, probably too much compared to the rest of the sections. I won't know until I deep dive into this, but it seems like a lot for D3. I'm assuming one of the guys on his team are really big into it, so he decided to do a few sections on it. And then the rest of the sections are just React. So if you're into React, I mean, like, it's huge right now. Everybody's talking about React, especially since they just changed their license to be less restrictive, and you don't have to worry about patents. You know, people all jumping on the React bandwagon. So there's probably better standalone courses on React, but this is going to be pretty darn good. So we got Introduction to React JSX, Create React App. And I won't really know until I go through all these sections, but yeah, it's all about it. And of course, authentication, you don't always see that, but it's nice that they added an authentication part to it, and then the router, and then Redux at the end to kind of doing state management. So that is just a quick overview of this course. I mean, I would probably buy it right now, even though I haven't gone through all of these sections, just knowing Colt Steele's previous work. But I'll go into a little bit more depth. If you like these type of videos, if you want me to go in more depth, leave a comment below and let me know like what you think so far. Do you think it'd be interesting to do a video on this? Let me know. I'd really like to know. And click that subscribe button and then click that little bell button. You can be notified next time I do a video. So thank you so much for watching. Take care. Adios, amigos.